Hey Andy, how are you?
I'm good. I'm very good right now.
Good, perfect. We are waiting for Murray. Hey Cameron.
Hello,
Hey,
everyone.
Alex, good to see you. Hi, Mari.
See
Thanks
you.
so
Hi
much.
Murray.
Hello. Nice to meet you guys. So, welcome everyone and to our great panelists for today. Andy Lian, the book author of NFT From Zero to Hero, Cameron Bale, the co founder of NFT NYC, and Alex Atashkar, the co founder of See That Photo. So, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and fellow enthusiasts, good afternoon. I am honored to welcome you to this captivating discussion panel centered around the compelling topic of the effective future of non-fungible tokens or NFTs. Today, we gather here as a diverse community of individuals united by our shared fascination with the potential and impact of NFTs in shaping the digital landscape. So, in recent years, NFTs have emerged as a revolutionary force within the realms of art, entertainment, digital ownership, and these unique digital assets have captured the attention of the world, transforming the way we perceive value and exchange art, music, and real estate. So they have opened new avenues for creators to monetize their work, granting opportunities for artists to directly connect with their audiences while eliminating the need for intermediaries. So today we have the privilege of gathering some of the brightest minds in the NFT space to explore the effective future of this phenomenon. So our esteemed panelists bring a wealth of knowledge, expertise and experiences that will enrich our understanding of NFTs, their implications, and their potential for long lasting impacts. So, throughout this discussion, we shall explore the artistic significance of NFTs, their role in revolutionizing like ownership rights, the challenges and the opportunities they present for creator and collectors alike, and the overall societal and economical impact they may have in the years to come. I extend my sincerest gratitude to our panelists for their willingness to contribute their insights and all of you for gracing us with your presence today. So I hope this discussion will inspire you, challenge your assumption, and spark new ideas as we collectively navigate the uncharted waters of the NFT revolution. So without further ado, let us embark on this extraordinary journey of exploration and discovery as we uncover the many facets of the effective future of non-fungible tokens. So right now, our first question, I will start with with Andy. How do you envision NFTs impact in the future and why?
Thanks for the nice introduction. I think the impact in the future is pretty obvious. Right now, if you look at the industry, most of us are just looking at PFP from a very superficial standpoint. Most of us look at it as an aid, or maybe as a profile picture right now at this current moment. I think in the future, I think a few trends are actually fairly obvious. So number one is that NFTs are actually a very good tool, for people to look at digital IDs. That's number one. Secondly, based on my background, I talk a lot with the different government. They are looking at also building NFT powered platform to look at real estate title deeds. So I think in terms of the future, I think it is extremely bright, extremely nice, as you can see the how the whole industry progresses, to this current state. It has gone through a long way, all the way from crypto kitties, all the way right now to very big brands, such as Red Bull, Gucci, Starbucks, whatever big brands that you can think of. They are embarking into the NFT journey. They are trying their very best to use the Web3 technology as one of the key driving force, for them to engage with their fans, engage with their customer. In fact, one very big brand, that I know is going to have a chief Web3 officer, so he's a CWO, so I think such a combination, and such a title, gives a lot of good punch and a lot of good assurance that NFT future is here to stay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andy. So how about you, Cameron? What do you think?
Thank you again also for the great introduction. I think just to quickly follow on from something Andy just said about some brands now introducing their chief Web3 officers. Our sort of background in this space is that we have a platform, which is why we got into the NFT space and then ended up starting NFT NYC. And our platform is all about creating white label social experiences for brands. And Jody, who's the co-founder of NFT NYC and the CEO of our company, he always tells this story about 2008 being the guy that looked like a fool walking down Madison Avenue telling brands they needed social media teams. And they would all laugh at him and say, we don't need a social media team. This is a fad. It's going away. And now you can't find a company that doesn't have a social media team and doesn't have a social media manager. And I think just like Andy said, what we're seeing now is that some brands are starting to embrace this and it will become the norm. I think in terms of the future of NFTs, before NFT NYC, each year we have this sort of tradition where we have a small dinner. And at that dinner, the question is always the same, the question of the conversation, which is, which industries do we think that NFTs will disrupt in the next 5 years? And my question, my response to that question has developed a little bit, but it's been the same the last couple of years at least, which is that I think that NFTs will disrupt themselves. I think that soon people won't be talking about NFTs as a technology that's so, as powerful as it is, because they'll just be everywhere. I think that just like NFTs, just like, a database system like MySQL, for example, at some stage it was very novel and some people were probably very excited about it. And right now it powers almost every single digital experience that you have. And most people don't know what it is. And I think NFTs will be that. I think what we'll see though is that they will empower all of these experiences that are enriched by the sort of special strengths of the technology, which I think are the things that we get excited about as technologists. Like we look at it and think, oh, wow, this is like real proof of ownership or self-sovereignty or royalties or the different types of token standards and what they enable. And I think those benefits will apply to different user experiences, but they'll be invisible to the end user. So I think, to echo what Andy said, I don't think they're going away. I think that the sort of way that they present themselves to people will go away. I think the image of this first sort of wave of adoption hopefully will go away. I hope that people stop thinking about NFTs as a speculative vehicle to just invest money in and hope to make money off. And my wish is that people will feel that they can extract more value from this technology by holding on to things and engaging with them rather than just buying and selling them.
All right, thank you so much, Cameron, for that insightful answer of yours. And lastly, Alex, what do you think for the NFTs impact in the future?
I think the future is completely clear. If you just go a bit deep through history, you can find out that all the battles ever happened in the history of mankind was the battle of the ownership. Everything was about ownership from the beginning, owning this land, owning this country, owning this city, owning these people, owning this right, owning that right. Everything was about owning. And now we are talking about a new era for the mankind that ownership gonna have a different meaning. So There is no way, no how, any big companies, any industry, any government can run away from the fact that NFT already opened a completely new window for people to understand the real meaning of ownership, and this time with 100% transparency. There is no game here. There is no, I can say, interruption of power in it. They cannot, because we are talking about blockchain. Unfortunately, the whole fever related to blockchain started with cryptocurrency, and people went too far that they don't understand now. The blockchain is not about cryptocurrency. The whole idea of blockchain was about transparency. Why transparency was so important? Because if we just go to the first white paper of Satoshi Nakamoto, he was shouting that we are suffering because we don't have transparency. NFT is the only way of the ownership in future. Any new technology which is getting added to this new era, like let's say metaverse or others, they are completely meaningless without NFT, because it's all about asset, it's all about ownership, and NFT has a new meaning for that.
All right, so like finally we have a chance to have this ownership and the transparency in the NFT world. So let's go back to Andy. In your opinion, what are the benefits of NFTs in the metaverse?
I think NFT brings in more creativity, within the metaverse. So if you look at some of these famous fashion brand, for example, they are creative, because they're selling their clothing as a form of a digital asset within the metaverse. So if you are maybe a Gucci fan, you want to wear something more fancy, you could do that in metaverse. So I think the potential there is going to be huge. Between my friends, we always talk about one thing, how to be sustainable within the metaverse. Sustainable not in terms of climate change and things like that. Is more like how you can build a life around the metaverse. And to be real honest, because if you are in the real world, it's so different, from what you are trying to live in the metaverse, right? So NFT exists in a form of fun and creativity. To be honest, you can be talking about hanging your CryptoPunk on your gallery inside your room, right? You can have a very special set of table or furniture that's just unique to you, in the metaverse, and you can shift them around anytime, whenever you want. So I think NFT plays a very important role, to tell people how the whole ecosystem is going to be like, in the metaverse, right? Similarly, when we talk about games and so forth, I also talk with some of the biggest gaming studio and some of these gaming venture companies. They want to buy all these gaming asset and so forth. They are also looking at what kind of a new digital asset the game provider can create within the gaming arena, or within that metaverse, gaming metaverse, because they see that the NFT itself are actually another form of revenue for them, right? So we talk about creativity, we talk about extra revenue, and then again, to the technologies, they see NFT as a form of a driving force, for them to be more daring, to put things in the metaverse, to talk about new ideas. I just felt the NFT is a catalyst of what we are trying to do here, in the whole Web3 crypto space. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Andy. Let's go to Cameron.
I firstly, I think like I think Andy, you first mentioned when we were talking about NFTs at the start, you said something about, the origins, and you mentioned the CryptoKitties. And I think the current sort of vision of what the metaverse is still at the CryptoKitty stage. I think, when I think about the metaverse, the image, or if I Google what a metaverse is, I get all these pictures that look like The Sims or Second Life or something like that. And I think when I think about the idea of metaverse, I think it's really just like a more interactive lens of the internet. It's like really just another sort of another sort of access, or another sort of like way of perceiving like an online experience. And I think that Andy also mentioned gaming, and gaming it's a $200 or $300 billion per annum industry. And when we first started talking about NFTs, and we had to sort of try to educate people on what they were, there was a really strong example in gaming. And in gaming, you could talk about why NFTs mattered for in-game items. And why they mattered was because, for years, people that have played games, particularly video games, have invested time and they've invested money. And quite often at the end of their gaming career, when they go on and they stop playing video games, maybe they grow up and have kids or whatever it is that changes in their life and they stop playing, all that time is gone and may feel like it's been wasted. But what NFTs have sort of enabled Web3 games to do is allow those players to seek a return in their investment. So when they're spending time and they're spending money and they're earning these artifacts by playing a game, they're left with a collection of things that they now have the power to trade. So I could sell my whole account, like my wallet with all these, swords and upgrades and things in it, or I could sell those things individually, or maybe I could even lease them. And so I think that sort of analogy applies to the metaverse too. So imagine that same experience, but with all of our online experiences where we have these different types of artifacts. And so, I think Andy's point too about sustainability, I think for people to understand that our actions online, I think people more recently have an understanding that our actions online have a sort of permanence. Like if I say something online, it's going to live forever, whether I like it or not. Or if I post a photo, people will be able to find it 10 years from now. And so I'm very careful about those things. And I think your comment about sustainability in the metaverse, Andy, is sort of like that. It's like, if this is just an extension of our online experience, how do we treat it as if this is my persona in the metaverse is an extension of myself? And how do I sort of act thoughtfully and have thoughtful experiences within the metaverse? But I think to summarize the question, Murray, it was about the importance of NFTs in the metaverse. I think back to the analogy with gaming, I think what it really does is empower people to have a digital identity that reflects who they really are, whether it's with a Gucci handbag or whether it's with the sword or the skin that represents who I want to be or who I am. I think it allows people to have that digital identity, but also to sort of have full control of those assets. And that's sort of more to Alex's point about ownership, owning who you are, owning the clothes that you wear, owning even the tattoos on your metaverse arms.
NFT really goes back to the word ownership. So how about you, Alex?
In regards to the metaverse, the only thing I can add to the points already mentioned is that I believe that one of the biggest potential that I can see on the metaverse is that that's gonna be the touch point of NFT with gaming industry, which gonna be very huge, because we know that gaming industry by itself, we are talking about only in 2023, we are talking about almost $560 billion worth of gaming industry. But many people are telling me, oh, 560 billion, that's not a big number because the cryptocurrency total market cap is 1 trillion. But they don't understand one point. Gaming industry is one of the only industry in the world that half of the value of the industry is the revenue. It means that if the total gaming industry is 560 billion, the revenue of the gaming companies is minimum 230 billion. But you don't have that in cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is something else. You cannot compare the market cap to the industry, the gaming industry value. That's why the potential of gaming industry, if you ask me, is minimum 10 times of the whole cryptocurrency. And when it gets on the touch points with blockchain, there is no runaway from NFT, because that's the main role of how they move the assets through different gaming. That's why I believe that metaverse, apart from the future that all of us believe that that's going to be the future, which is coming. We don't know how. We are in a very, very, very early stage of it. But on the touch point of NFT and gaming together, that's going to be super huge.
Thank you so much, Alex. And finally, the question everyone needs an answer for is, how can we as individuals make money from NFT market? Let's go back to Andy.
How can we make money from NFT?
That's a question.
That's a very big question, to be very honest, let me share my point of view, on this. I don't think that NFT is the ultimate way to make money. If you use brands, for example, maybe Red Bull, Starbucks, Porsche, and so forth, the main aim of them launching the NFT is not to make money. It is to have a chance to interact with their users, their client, and also try to get hold of new clients. From there you can create a certain level of stickiness, and then they can make money from maybe their stock, right? Or maybe they make money from some other merchandise that they are trying to sell, right? So I think the same kind of methods should also be reflected on crypto native. We are not here to sell some PFP photos of a cartoon and then say that, hey, if you buy it, he buy it, and then the price can go up and you can earn a lot of money. It doesn't make sense, because if I'm the collector, he bought it and the price goes up, I would love to keep the membership, if you see it as a membership. So I think that the money can come in way after, for NFT. That's the way to earn money, right? Of course, if you are a maybe photographer, for example, right? You take good photographs, instead of selling it on some of these stock images platform, you can do it on a Web3 environment, right? And with the Web3 environment, you could talk about secondary sales, you could talk about building yourself a brand, you are selling them, right? This is I think one good way. Or maybe you can be a generative artist, you use codings to do nice artwork, for example. There were people like Jack Butcher, for example. I met him in New York. And then, those kind of artists, for example, they could use the NFT to sell because it's a piece of art. But as a project owner, for example, I don't think they should just use this as a club, to sell the NFTs for money, and then to gather all the communities together to just sell them PFP, unless they have a very good business model, For example, maybe Azuki trying to do a anime video, using the funds, if they have a proper roadmap, for example, I think that would be a nice sustainable way to earn some good money from NFT, but it's just another small NFT project, trying to make some quick bucks. Then I think that should not be the way. So my final words is, use your own skills to earn some good money, not to scam, but use your own skills, like artistic skills, your photography skill, your design skills, to earn some money. I think that's cool, for short term. But at the longer term, you should see NFT as a way to supplement, your existing business to make it bigger, and look at the benefits down the road, not so much of just quick bucks, man. Thanks.
Thank you so much for that really insightful answer of yours, Andy. How about you, Cameron?
I think sort of, again, piggybacking off Andy, I don't like through our platform, NFT Cred, when we talk to brands, we beg them not to measure the success of their campaigns in dollars, because you will always be disappointed. And I think that what we have the power to do with this technology is not to help people make money, but I think to help people deliver value. And value and money can be two very different things. So value from a brand, for example, as Andy was saying, like Starbucks, for example, value comes in the form of coffee, and value from a brand like Gucci comes in the form of clothing, and value from a photographer comes in the form of art. And so I think like what that value is that you actually get from the NFTs, no matter where they sort of stand in that product or within that product experience, I think the value is always different. I think that brands can create value through different types of loyalty programs or delivery of discounts or benefits. And to that point that I made before about like people extracting more value by holding on to these things than by letting them go or trying to flip them and make money. I think there's a fairly easy comparison to like memberships or like having, an American Express Black Card. Like by holding on to this thing, I can get benefits that if I didn't hold it, I wouldn't get. And I think that if we can encourage people or continue to encourage people and brands to think about this technology in a way of engaging their audience rather than a way of selling them something and the digital asset being the thing that they're selling them, I think we'll see a lot more interesting use cases. But in some cases, the NFT is really what they're selling. Like if you're an artist, the NFT, what it really represents is a license to your artwork. And in that case, like it makes a lot of sense that you're selling the NFT, but that's a fairly exclusive or fairly like limited use case compared to the sort of world of ways that people are using this technology. So I think in terms of how to make money off NFTs, I have a business model behind it, like Andy said. I think like if you can deliver more value because you're using NFTs, then I think that's a path to success. I think if you are relying on the hype of a new technology to drive revenue, I think you're in the wrong business. And the exception of if you are a creative person that is selling artwork or some sort of media that could not otherwise be delivered and have ownership proven without using that tech.
All right, thank you so much, Cameron. And lastly, Mr. Alex.
Actually, I have a bit of different point of view on this one because I believe that there is a chance over there, especially when we are talking about dynamic NFTs. There is a chance definitely to make money, or if you don't make money, at least you increase the value of your assets. What I mean by that is that today, especially again in the metaverse industry, when you are buying, let's say, a land, and then if you have enough tools and enough skills to build whatever on it, a business, I don't know, an apartment, a villa, or whatever it is, if you are building something on it, when you are selling this NFT to someone else, you are selling this with the whole package that you already built on, not only the NFT. This is a complete meaning of dynamic NFT because I can buy something just as a piece of land in the virtual space, and then I start to implement my skills on it. And then when I'm selling it, I'm selling something completely different, but it's still the same NFT. So the dynamic NFT, there is a big chance of increasing your asset value, let's say. This is one side of it. Going back to the classic NFT, we are talking about art. I'm sure everyone could agree with me that if today a very famous singer come out with one track of music and means that as NFT and say, okay, whoever want to listen to this track, it's one NFT belong to Maury. So what should all platforms do? Even Spotify has to come and pay you some money to do the streaming of that music, right? So in the classic way of NFTs, I believe the only way you can make money is to buy real art. If you are buying a real music from a high-profile artist, if you are buying a movie with from a very profile director, if you are buying a photo from a very well-known international awarded photographer, of course there is a value on that, because on NFT or without NFT, there is a value on art. And now with NFT, you have the 100% ownership right of that. So then it's going to give you more value. But again, going to the fever of the market, of course, you will not make any money if you are keep buying those. I don't know. I don't want to mention, but you guys know which type of animal I'm talking about. If you are buying that photos of that specific animals here and there, and you believe that you're going to make money, no, that's too late. The fever is gone, and people already manipulated the market enough with that one. And after that one with the potato, and after that one with the stone, they already did that. So that's over. Today, if you want to make money out of NFT, either buy a real art or go to dynamic NFT or be a part of a successful community. Then you have access to the huge use case of that. Here, I have to add one more point that because I want you to pass this message to your audience here. We have to expect a very huge profit on NFT overall. Why is that? Because if today you just check the numbers, because I believe numbers are the only thing that they don't lie. Just check the numbers. The amount of people who are holding cryptocurrency on Germany as number one country, crypto holders in the world, is 30% of the population. But how many of them they are holding NFT? 6%. Then go to United States. United States, based on the numbers, more than 21% of the population, they know about crypto, or they have. We don't know exactly, but at least we are sure they know about crypto. But how many of them know about NFT? 4%? Oh, it's a very huge difference when you are talking about cryptocurrency and NFT, which is completely showing that this new technology is very fresh, is very new. You cannot expect people in the crypto market even to understand NFT. You cannot, because it's very fresh, it's very new, and we have a long way to go. But end of the day, to finish my thought on this, we have the signals. The biggest signals are there. When Nike, Adidas, Tiffany, Gucci, Starbucks, Red Bull, all of them, they already entered to the market. What are you waiting for? We have all signals from all the giants. So it's showing that there is something happening very, very soon. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Alex. Really, NFT is innovative. So before we wrap things up, any final words? Alex, Andy, Cameron? I think that's it.
That's the only thing I really wanted to ask, because both of the panelists today that I had the honor to be next to them, I think it's very important to know that they are a very heavy weighters on this industry. This is what I have to say about them, because when we talk about NFT NYC, I believe that we are talking about the biggest community of NFT worldwide. If Cameron can give us a very brief on that, it's going to be very important for people to understand the value of NFT NYC. At the same time, we go to Andy, because the book that you wrote, Zero to Hero on NFT, is really a good one for everybody. And I really advise everyone to take a copy of that. Cameron?
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, so that little story that I told you before about NFT NYC. So we have a platform. We launched it in 2018, and it was a platform for brands to help them launch white label integrated NFT experiences. And we went around and we were talking about it at crypto conferences, and nobody cared. We realized at the time we were much too early for brands to really be showing interest in this space. At the time, many people were making lots of money off ICOs, and they would hear about something that was not fungible and think, why would I want that? And so we decided that, there were some artists, there were some gaming people, there were some sports people that were interested in NFTs, and we realized there was maybe an opportunity to bring that community together. And so we jumped off the cliff, and we hosted 3 small events with about 100 people each, one in San Francisco at Twitter headquarters, and then the next day in New York City, and then the next day in London. And we realized that New York was the right place if we wanted to host an event specifically about NFTs, because New York is, at least for North America, the home of the finance markets. It's the home of the art world. It's the home of brands. All these things that NFTs are impacting converge in New York. Plus, it has the added benefit of having this incredible art gallery with Times Square billboards. And so we decided that New York was the right place to host this event. Thankfully, the .nyc top-level domain had just launched, and so we could get NFT.nyc. We got a few others at the same time, like .london, which we did last year. But the first event we hosted in February 2019, and about 400 people came, which we thought was a great success for the first year. And then, people spoke that were from CryptoPunks, and Devin and Alex from OpenSea spoke, and they were very proud about the revenue that OpenSea was earning at that time, which now, if you were to look back on it, I'm sure they were embarrassing numbers, compared to what has happened since. But I think it was just such an early stage for people to start exploring the industries and the ways that NFTs would impact people's interactions with different industries. And so we decided to do it again the following year in 2020, and we saw a tiny bit of growth. We went from, I think, 460 people to 500 people. And, that we felt like, okay, maybe this is not really going anywhere. It's sort of the same people that are coming. And then the following year, in 2021, of course, we had COVID at 2020, and then late 2021, we hosted the event as early as we could again. But something, very, very special happened in 2021 when someone, Mr. Metakoven, spent $69 million on a Beeple artwork. And I think, we talk about that as being the cheapest global marketing campaign for a technology that anyone could have wished for, because it woke the world up. And everyone now knew what an NFT was because of this, extraordinary sale. And so 2021, we went from 560 attendees to 6,500. 2022, that continued to go up. We went up to 17,000 in 2022. And then I think, to many of the comments in this conversation about making money and really delivering true value, and, the era of speculation and animal photos being over, I think this year we've really seen a bit of a correction. And, I like to say we've shaken the tree and all the bad apples have fallen out. And I think the people that are still in this space, the people that are really committed to delivering value with the technology, I think that people are really, really honing in on use cases. And like you mentioned, Alex, some major brands are now in the space. I know Ticketmaster, the world's biggest ticketing company, people think that tickets are a great use case for NFTs, and that the NFT space will overthrow these big companies like Ticketmaster. But I think the signal that we're seeing is that these types of companies are actually integrating this technology as well. And I think that that signal of adoption, like you mentioned, is showing that, it's here to stay. And I think we're still, very, very early days in terms of mass adoption.
That's nice. That's nice to hear the backstory. I was at this NFT NYC this year. I think the crowd is great. Very good energy. But I just want to add in a little bit more on some of my backstory as well. I wrote the book only last year. And last year was a really bad time for NFT. Honestly, nobody is really talking about it. Price have beginning to fall. I think the trend is kept falling, right? I wrote this not because of money, although thankfully I sold about more than 10,000 books, so far. But I wrote this not because of money, it's because I have friends who, some of them are listed companies, big companies, in Hong Kong, in Singapore. They have always asked me about some tips on what they should do, what they should do for their franchise, what they need to do for their F&B or their pet food business and things like that. They're all, listed on main boards and so forth. But I don't have the time to deal with them. I'm hardly in Singapore. I hardly see them. So after knowing their backstory, how they are being advised by consultancy company, paid this expert $500,000, $1 million just to do some really silly NFT adoption. That got me really heated up. I was like telling them, you guys are really not that smart, But then instead of blaming them, I should also talk about all those scammers, who scam them, give them all sorts of crazy consulting ideas. All of them doesn't work at all, honestly. So I wrote the book, with the intention of telling them that, hey, there are many ways to look at NFTs, right? There are ways that you can use NFT in a very efficient manner. And to be very honest, it's somewhat free. All you need to do is to read my book. If you're not going to read my book, at least, go through the appendix at the back of my book, look at some of these links that I provided. It's so straightforward. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to learn how to do NFTs or deal with NFTs, and why pay them such a high dollar? After all, it's all about marketing. After all, it's all about branding. The technology part, well, perhaps that few lines can cost them $500,000. I'm not sure, but I just hope to empower people with the right kind of knowledge. I shared the same story. When right now I'm in Istanbul. I was actually being invited by the Ministry of Industry and Trade to be in Turkey. We had great session talking about blockchain. We talk about Web3. We talk about these NFTs for sure. My aim there is not to sell anything because I have nothing to sell. I'm not a vendor. I'm not a tech provider. But my main aim is to empower, the people in the government, the kind of knowledge that they can use, when they tackle some of these vendor that they speak to, right? I'm just trying my really best to make sure that everyone is at the right level playing field and talk the right kind of lingo, and that can make everybody's job a lot easier, right? So that's how the book is like. I will still continue my journey, in the space, from a government advisor. I'm also an advisor to Bybit, the world third largest derivatives exchange, and then I was also the blockchain advisor to 22 countries. It's like a UN group, UN-like group. And then I was also the board member of Hyundai, the Hyundai car brand. So I just want to continue to keep my effort going. I want to make sure that everyone understood, what exactly Web3 is all about. Okay, of course, I talk about Web4 if you Google my name, but I just want to make sure that everybody's journey is just safe, nice, and pleasant. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you so much. So, as our insightful discussion panels draw to a close, I stand before you with a deep gratitude for the rich exchange of ideas, perspective, and expertise we have witnessed here today. So it has been an engaging and thought-provoking exploration into the transformative power of NFTs and their potential impact in the future. I would like to express my appreciation to our esteemed panelists, Andy Lian, Cameron Bale, and Alex Atashkar, for sharing their valuable insight and experiences. Their contributions have shed light on the implications of NFTs, leaving us with a deeper understanding of the opportunities and challenges that lie ahead. Thank you all once again for joining us today. Safe travel, and may your journey be filled with endless possibilities. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks
Thanks,
for having
everyone.
us.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.